Hello, everyone. Let us know if you can hear us and see us. Good to see you all today. Hello, Adam Amisev. I'm by saying that right. Christine, hi. Cindy, hi. Did you get my message, Cindy? Hi, Deb, Graciela, the painted quilter. I know you're a regular, but I don't know your name. Hello, Ellen. Debbie P. I got to be careful with my Debbies. I
Hello,
have
everyone.
two Debbies and a Deb. Christine, I guess. When I touch this to see the chat, I lose things. We'll see. Hello. Oh, there's Diane. Are you still on your back, Diane? She's my pink bathtub. There's Bonnie. Yes, Judy was confused. Okay. Hi, Heather. And I got two Heathers. That's a Heather in Ontario. Oh, the painted quilter is Melissa. I'll try very hard to remember that, Melissa. I wish more of you had names that were your own name. All these people with these strange names, it's really hard to keep them track. Kelly, are you the Kelly I just got a picture from and asked if this was your first or second time? And Karen, I think you're pretty new too. Heather did it. I know you're the Heather that's in Oshawa, right, Heather? Yeah, okay. She's giving me her whole name. Okay. Slowly they're coming in. We're just gonna yarn motivated. That's Joyce, isn't it? Naughty Marietta. Now I don't know that one. Is that one of yours, Gary?
I'm not sure.
Naughty Marietta is new to me. Renee, hi Renee.
Yeah.
We're just going to chat for a minute or two to give people time to get here. We don't want anybody to, here's some pressure, Gary. We don't want anybody to miss Gary's words of wisdom. So we'll give it a little time. Brad's mom, that's Linda. Hi there. Raylene, hello. Raylene, I have to say a comment about Raylene, everybody. Now, here's dedication. Raylene is in South Australia. So, Gary, do you know what time it is there right now?
Yes, it is in Tomorrowland, but you got to go back 6 hours from here, which is 11 a.m. So it is in the middle of the night in South Australia.
When I've asked in the past, it's been 5 or 5:30 in the morning. She sets the alarm to get up and watch, then goes back to bed.
That's dedication for you.
Raylene, I have to thank you so much for that. Yeah, you made it. You made it. And I appreciate that you do that. And then there's Donna. Hi, Donna. Bonnie is the one in Chatham with me.
I do see a few familiar names in here.
Hey, Cindy. You didn't tell me, Diane, are you on your back? Maria loves yarn. She watches me sometimes. Raylene, you are welcome. Well, I do appreciate your dedication. I mean, there's no way, I don't care how much I like Gary's channel, I wouldn't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch it. Sorry, Gary.
That's okay. Sleep is important.
I don't do well at those early hours. Yeah. There's only one day in the whole year that I get up. I don't every year, but I get up about 5:30 a.m. The day that I do my craft show out of town. I have to be up by 5:30 to get out of the house by 6:15 because it's more than an hour drive to get there. And it starts at 8 a.m. You ever seen a craft show start at 8 a.m.?
No, but I know that to set up and stuff? You need to think ahead?
No, I set
Yeah.
up the afternoon before. I go
Oh,
there, the
wow.
hour drive, set up and come back. But the craft show is actually in a nursery,
Mm-hmm.
and nurseries open early. So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Who else is here? Oh, Barbara, hello from Alberta. I hurt my back, everyone. No, I am sitting at the moment. Okay, well, you're making progress then, Diane.
Yeah, get
Uh,
better, Diane.
Alley Cat. Oh, Alley Cat. Are you Kayla? Are you Kaylee? I get a couple of you mixed up. Crafty Cat. Hello, Judy and Gary from Michigan. Great. Cindy. There's another Jude. Is one of my 3 Judys in Ontario. Angels and Cats. I think it's Alley Cat and Angels and Cat. Yeah, I get that, Alley Cat, Angels and Cat, but I can't remember who's who. I'm gonna blame it on getting old. I need to write them down. Their emails come in with their real names, and I need to make a list and set it here where I do my videotaping so I know who's who. Crafty Cat, Alley Cat, and Angels and Cats or something.
All cat crochet. It's like cats are like in here representing.
Oh, hi, Kathy. She's here now. Kathy's in Toronto. I sent Judy a long email using Google Voice. Yeah, and I wouldn't know how to use it. Have you ever used Google Voice to send? Like, she sent me a long email and she used Google Voice to do it.
Yeah, I've only done text messages, like very brief ones, not a full length email.
Okay. So what number? Oh, we're up to 37 is what I see there. So that's pretty typical of what we have, is right around 40, 38. Who just added? Alley Cat Crochet. See all these. Oh, well.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad
So,
you could make it.
welcome everybody. I'm so happy to see you for another Conversations with Judy. And as you can see, and as I told you, we have our special guest with us today, Gary from Yarn with Heart. I don't really feel the need to run the rules by you this week, because I don't think anything that we're discussing this week is going to touch on different YouTube channels, so that we won't be stepping on any toes or making somebody feel bad or praising one and not another. I don't see that happening. Gary will be talking about some designers, but you know what? Every one of us creators talks about designers almost every YouTube video we do. So I don't see that as being a problem. So I forgot to tell Gary I was going to ask the audience a question before he starts. Gary's topic is whether you start with, he's going to elaborate a little more. I asked him to go a little farther than that, but this is where we're starting. Do you start with a pattern and then choose your yarn? Or do you start with your yarn and then go pick a pattern that works for it? And I would like to see every one of you in the comment section put either yarn or pattern. Where do you start? It'll be interesting to see. And then maybe somebody will count. Oh,
That'd be a
38
great
feet.
stat to find out, actually.
I'm Kimberly. Okay, Kimberly is Alley Cat. I'll try to remember that, but that doesn't mean I will. Yeah. Hi, Lori. I follow you both and love your posts. Thank you very much. What do you mean neither, Diane? You got to start with something. Yarn, pattern, pattern, yarn, pattern, yarn. Kind of sort of split, aren't
It
we?
is right down the middle.
Write it down, Judy. Write what down? Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to write it down, but I don't have a way to do that right this red hot minute. I'll go back and look at later.
Oh,
Oh,
Donna says both.
I wonder how many people would go that direction. Pattern, the names. Yeah, I figured that out. I buy yarn to buy yarn. I collect. Yeah, I'm not talking about your yarn, Diane. I'm saying if you sit down to crochet, do you have a pattern in mind and then pick your yarn, or do you have pattern or yarn in your hand and go looking for a pattern to go with it? Both. Yeah. Yarn. That's why I have so much staff. I usually have some stash waiting, then a pattern comes along. I like, and then it dawns on me. Okay, both.
Absolutely. They're touching on things that I can relate to on both sides.
I don't know why these things happen. I touch things I shouldn't touch. I'm not an expert here, but Diane will be able to help me get. I just touched it. Why do? Okay, it's not there. All right. I suspicion that most people would say both. You know, sometimes it's one and sometimes it's the other. What is your response, Gary?
I can understand people who say either or both, because in my process of picking yarn pattern, whichever comes first, there's always inspiration at that sparks the purpose for why you're going to make something. So in the beginning, I would say when I was starting out and I didn't have much of in the way of yarn in my collection, I would say that yarn dictated what kind of pattern I would uh, go and grab at. And that would be because I would be like going down the aisles or shopping online and thinking, oh, I really like those colors. So I would be gathering lots of bits and pieces here and there. And then I would be going to look for a pattern because I've just purchased the yarn. So that was kind of like the catalyst of the inspiration and how I would relate to the yarn at the get-go. Also, other things that would help me to choose the yarn before the pattern would be if there was a special mini set or a set of yarns that I would buy in a, like say, a mystery bag, and there was no pattern with it, or a kit with no pattern, then I would obviously buy it for the yarn to think I want to use this in a pattern altogether. And you've sent me some beautiful yarn, Judy, recently, and I want to keep it all together because I've just recently found a pattern for it. But I found the pattern first. But because that yarn came along and I want to keep it all together, that is how the inspiration had married together. Now that I have a fair few numbers of choices in my collection, I am now able to go into a place like Ravelry, or if I'm on a hub for a yarn company, they have lots of different pattern catalogs. I will type in something that I'm inspired by. Say I want to make a jumper, or which is a sweater in North America, or if I want to do like a specific shawl, like just say I want to do some sort of lightweight shawl, I will type it in and then I'll run the list of things that grab my eye in whatever comes up in Ravelry or in the pattern catalogs of other yarn companies. And then I will look at my collection and say, oh, I've got yarn enough for these things. So I will then go and find that the pattern is the inspiration and then the yarn just follows suit. So I do both. I think more and more now that I've got some yarn that I've purchased from sales, or I've got odds and ends here and there, souvenir yarns when I go traveling, I find that the pattern is my starting point
Mm.
of late. But in the beginning, it was definitely the yarn that was the inspiration. Yeah.
That, that's interesting, because if we talk about in the beginning, like way back before I did all of this, I didn't crochet a lot after I learned to crochet. So it would be, if I had a pattern I wanted to do, I would go and find the yarn for it. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any yarn. I really didn't have much in the way of patterns either, but I did buy a few patterns, and that made me go buy the yarn. Then
Right.
I just started buying yarn because I like yarn, and you know, this is what happens. So because to the audience out there, because I knew that the discussion on this would end up with a lot of people saying both, you know, and there wouldn't be a lot of depth to the discussion, I asked Gary to go a step further, because those of you that know Gary, he puts unusual or many colors together that I sometimes wonder at. So I asked Gary to tell us how he chooses his yarn and his colors for a project. So I believe he's brought some projects to show us, and maybe he'll enlighten us on how it is he decides what he's going to make that pattern out of. Because he says, I have to tell you this, I've heard him say more than once when he's working on something, I'm not sure if I have enough of this yarn to finish it. But we'll worry about that when we get there, is sort of what he says. Those aren't his exact words. And I'm sitting there thinking, if I don't know I have enough yarn for this, I'm not using it. I'm going to get what I know it's going to make it all the way through. So I'm in amazement of how he can do that. So he's going to tell us how he chooses his yarns for a project, or colors, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with one sample that I have. And this is in the line of the yarn coming first to indicate what pattern that I have chosen. So this is a kit of shepches. I can't say that word, but it's
Shappies.
shepches. And it's a pack of all different colors. And I wanted to keep this all together because I do think that the colors relate nicely to each other in a color palette. Now it's going to be bright and kind of a little fun and whimsical, whatever it is it's going to make, because there are so many colors, but they all kind of like have a stonewash feel. They're all the same weight. And I thought to keep them together in a project. So this would be something I would consider the yarn inspires me first.
Just, I'm going to interrupt for a second. I want to make Gary fill the screen, and I don't know how to do that, but I think, Diane, you can tell me how I can fill the screen. Everything I hit says remove him or edit him or mute him. I don't want to do that. And I've done it before where I make the guests fill the screen. I can't figure it out. What do I have to hit, Diane? I thought if I hit you and then this, no, see, it brings me. I don't want that. How do I make that? How do I make Gary big? Somebody tell me. Maybe click on him. I just did. All it does is go faded. Oh, remove from stage. Don't want to do that. Don't want to mute him. I guess we aren't going to be able to make you fill the screen, Gary, which is what I really wanted to do.
That's okay. We can keep going.
Oh, well. Sorry about that. So we got to do it this way.
Okay. So this is the first one that I was thinking of. So the patterns that I was looking at would be something that I was surfing in Ravelry. I made a bundle of mini skeins or like mini skeins or scrap yarns, and a lot of suggestions came up in the feed. So I was like, I was actually really looking at wonderful patterns or arrays of different patterns that I could choose from. So one did come and spring to mind when I was looking that I think would work. It's a crocheted pattern. It is a paid for pattern. And I was looking at this one here from Jessica Wiffle or Weifel, and it's Chasing Starlight. So it is a blanket and it's made in modular pieces. And I think all these little windows of, I'm going to call them, they look like leaves, will be where I would use the Shipchi's yarn. And then I just needed to find out what kind of framing yarn I would use with it. And I chose a burgundy color yarn, which is just a solid color in Style Crafts. I have ordered more of this because I only have this one ball, but that's what I was thinking of putting for pairing up with my yarn that inspired me. Because we have some knitters in here as well, I believe, who are interested in learning learning the craft like we all are still learning. I thought I'd throw in a knit project, which recently I found the pattern first, and then I wanted to pair the yarn with. So here is a scarf from Les Garçons, and it's called the Rocketeer scarf. I really loved the idea of having a long elongated scarf, which I think is over 2 meters long. So it's quite sizable, but it's very shallow. So I thought I like the different colors that are used in here, and it would be a 3-color palette. And then I went to choose the yarn for it. So I'm going with a palette that is kind of warm and high contrast. Actually, the viewers of my channel helped me make some selections in this one because I did have a couple of different yarns in here that I wasn't sure what to use. And these are the colors that I ended up choosing. So we have this really nice burgundy. Again, it's the burgundy similar to the one that I just pulled out with, which is the Stylecraft. This one's Alpaca Cloud from Knit Picks, and the colors Elizabeth. This one here is also a Knit Picks called Capra, and it's in the colorway called, it looks like Tansy Heather and Champagne, which is a barn yarn hand-dyed color. And I think those three together would be really, really nice. Thank you for everyone who helped me choose this palette. I had 2, and the other one was more of a over the color wheel. It was like spread out as a blue and a red and I think a mauve, like a light mauve color. So this one is more of a warm color. Part of the way that I look at yarns and how I pair them together is evoking a feeling, or if you want to suggest something, perhaps maybe in your wardrobe. There are things that I do to kind of like before I make my yarn selection, and that's occasionally I will do a storyboard or a mood board, and there are different ways of evoking certain emotions. So I would say that this one is more of a romantic kind of color palette. And the previous one where it's more eclectic and it has those Shipchi's little whimsical colors would be something that would evoke some energy, and it would be more of a stained glass, exciting kind of like look with the circles and the leaves created with that crochet pattern called, what was it called again? Chasing Starlight. even the name suggests that it's kind of energetic, right? So those are two ways that I would say that are slightly different, where the yarn inspires me to look for a pattern, and where a pattern inspires me to look for the yarn. I have more if you want me to keep going, or we can break to talk about something else for a little bit. What do you feel, Judy?
Whatever you're comfortable with. Does anybody have any questions for Gary at this time? Use full screen layout and then click on solo layout at the bottom of the screen. I hit the solo layout in the icons here and it just puts me up, not Gary. So that doesn't seem to work. You may need, I'm on a iPad, Diane, so my choices are limited. I have taken that advice and made a board on Pinterest. Here's directed to you, Gary, for my wool hanks that I've been collecting for special. Yeah, some people say they hold on to their luxury yarns for something special. Yeah.
Yeah.
You use, I have to guess, you use a color wheel quite often when you're trying to figure things out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I use it as in a sense of like the physical one that you kind of like turn around and stuff. I would probably have used color a lot in my work experience, my work and my life in kind of creating. So I have the sense already mapped out a little bit in my head. So I would say, for me, what the exciting part is about color is when you are throwing your expressions together with color, there's not really a wrong way. You can get away with mixing color theory the way that you would like to. What tends to then weigh up your or strengthen your expression is like whether or not those colors repeat throughout the project, how they unify, and how much of the space it takes up. Because when you talk about color weight in a design, you would sense that there could be opposing, conflicting ideas with color. So a loud color might be a beautiful, subtle piece if it's just used very like throughout maybe a neutral color palette, and you want this one loud punch to come through. It could balance and be quite a subtle thing if you're using just a couple of rows or rounds with that color. So the weight of it isn't oppressive and it's being allowed to breathe. So when you talk about design, you feel that these other tools that are at your disposal can be used so that it balances and harmonizes whatever color palette that you choose. I've got another tactic here that I'm going to explore as well, which is a way to use color that will help if you feel that your colors aren't harmonized, or you could make it, I'll just show you, it'd probably be better. Okay, so I have done some hand dyed myself in the past, and this is a color that I really, really like. It's a subtle shift between like a aqua green sage and a bit of this brilliant yellowish green. As you know, I love greens.
Yeah.
So what I have done with this bag of yarn together, which I've had now for a while so that I could use it in a project, was I wanted to play up this color in here with full hanks of other things. So I've chosen this one here, which could be making a bigger project. And as suggested before, if I do a large area of this subtle pastel-y yarn, I would probably not want to drown it out too much with too much color of this one. So I would probably use this color sparingly throughout the project. Likewise, if I wanted to use a lot more of this color, I wouldn't want to challenge it too much with areas in this. So I would probably just use a little bit of this. And another project which would work would be framing little windows and letting this be the background color playing and dancing within the frames of this solid color. The other things that I chose in here would be going more with that yellowish green and using something like this color, which is another green. And if I wanted a punch of something different, I would probably use a bright yellow. I know it's not your favorite, is it?
Neither one of those yellows, yellow mustard.
Or yeah, and so I've got those in a bag there, and I think that's going to be a very whimsical color palette because there are softness, but there's loud colors as well that could play together. Yeah, so that's one bag. If I choose another bag here, Judy, this might be more for you. Something a bit more tonal like this. We've got
Very
reds,
busy.
oranges, there's purple, there's every color in the rainbow here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a very retro-y feel. I could use this one here, which is a red. It's from Knit Picks and it's called, what is it called? Crab Apple Heather. This one here would also play into it nicely with some of the bluish tones that are coming through. And this one is called Savvy. And of course, I chose one that's green. And this one is called Jade.
So my question is, you wouldn't use all three of those with that. You'd pick one of them.
You know what could work with this color palette is what I suggested before, where you have punchy lines of crochet, maybe 1 or 2 rounds. You could use all 3 of these throughout it. Similar to the way that you design sometimes your shawls to have windows spaces and then filled spaces. Where you have the window spaces could be done in a bright color, and the rest of the pattern could actually just have these
Okay.
to kind of like create the background color.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like all 3 of those solids.
Yeah.
And I notice when you say, for instance, that dark aqua, it's not green, but whatever that you call that teal, you say, oh, it's blue. Is it really blue? Because you said, oh, it would match this blue. And I'm looking at it, I'm saying, well, those aren't the same colors in my mind. But you don't worry about the fact that they're matchy. You just say, oh, this is a blue and this is a blue. Doesn't matter if they're the same tone or not.
Yeah, it is a teal, you're right, and it is slightly different. So you would see that this blue here
looks very blue.
This one is teal, you're right, but I think it would still work because of the value of how dark it is.
Oh, okay.
So I think that would still work.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with the red. The red doesn't exactly match the red, but
no,
you know, see, I worry about things clashing, and if they're not in the same tone, I guess that it's going to look funny when I work with it. But that never seems to bother you.
No, I think what happens when I work it, it doesn't need to match perfectly, because the nature of this yarn here, it's kind of like it's not a full saturation. You can actually see the yarn underneath.
Yeah.
Whereas these ones here, they're more saturated.
Yeah.
And I feel that it would be okay to use a slightly different saturation level and a slightly different color, than what your skein is doing here. But yeah, I would say that if you were to use a combination of various types of blues, greens, or reds, whatever is slightly a shade deeper or a shade bluer or shade greener, I think it would blend in nicely if you were to bracket the color throughout the piece. So you're not doing one whole chunk and then you're forgetting about this teal color. You're actually going to spread that teal color throughout the start of the project and the end of the project so that you can kind of unify the piece together. If you were to say, I'm just going to use one full section of this, one full section of this, never to use them again throughout the piece, and then one full section of this, I think you would have an issue with the colors being fighting against each other. But
Okay.
if you were to somehow find a design that would allow you to feed each of these colors throughout the whole piece, then it would unify the whole fabric or the whole kind of design of the project.
So something more stripy.
Yeah, something stripy, or even if there's just a row of a stitch to suggest that it's also over here and the weight is more evenly distributed. There's also fabric that you can make when you are mixing colors together, row change, row change, row change sort of thing. And if you're slipping stitches in knitting, for example, you can create these little mosaic spreads. You can also hold the yarn together double,
Yeah.
and then you drop yarn and add a new yarn in to
Yeah.
make the blend. And that's called a fading technique, I think.
Yeah,
So
and it's marling the yarns. I find, I mean, I don't mind marled, but I don't always like marled. And of course it makes it heavier and I like lighter weight. So yeah. I'm
yeah,
I'm gonna bring your attention to a couple of questions here.
okay.
First of all, is there a free or inexpensive tool for making a mood board on your computer?
Yeah, there are some freeware out there that you can use. One is, I did use it. It's if you were to Google online free mood board palette creators, you'll get a list of all different search results. Some of them are probably paid for. Some of them have a small area of testing that you can do for free. And I've used that. What I've done is I've taken a photograph and I keep a collection of like beautiful colors or similar to the mood boards that you had last year with the butterflies, those wonderful nature shots. And I pass it through this one that I use. I can't remember the name of it. And it will bring up colors that are in there and suggest yarn that you could purchase to relate to the color. Now, it's not spot on because when I was using it, it was throwing colors into the mix that weren't in there, or they were choosing maybe it's specs that weren't overall the majority of the color that was in there. So it was kind of like suggesting an imbalance there of what was actually in the photograph. And I thought that was a good tool to use, and
Okay.
it creates the colors. Yeah.
Does that answer your question, Christine? And while she's responding, here's another one from Kathy. Could Gary please describe a bit about doing a, in quotes, quick mood board?
A quick mood board. uh yeah, I would say if you didn't want to spend too much time with the uh being behind a screen or a computer, you could do a scrapbook. And in the scrapbook, you could maybe have your favorite magazines that you like reading, or cutting up photographs that are sort of like gathering in a like an area or a little trinket box of things, and you just stick it down on a piece of paper. That's kind of like what a simple mood board does, right? You just sort of, I've got one here to show you. This is the kind of my little notes books that I do when I'm looking for things. So this is one that I did with nature shots.
Oh,
And
yeah. I remember when you did that.
yeah, so I got a whole bunch of different things that I cut out, and I get the feel of what I want to do with the mood board. Like here's one of the ocean.
Right.
Oh, I love these colors here.
Yeah, you would. That's predominantly green.
Yeah. So I would say if you want to not be behind a computer screen, which I think the internet is amazing because you can kind of like just type in what you're interested in, and it gives you the whole kit caboodle of like different snapshots or whatever, and you can just cut and paste from the internet. But if you want to just stick to a book like this with no printing out of things, you could actually just build it by cutting and pasting in that classic sense of a scrapbook.
Do you do a mood board or something similar to with every project you do?
No, not every project. And I am notorious for pulling yarn out at the last moment and replacing it. So what I've shown you here, if I pick a pattern that I want to use some of this yarn, what I'll do is I'll have a whole series of choices in there for me to go either direction. And sometimes, which is fun for me, if I'm finding that it's not working, I'll go and maybe choose a different color to just throw it off to see where a happy accident might happen. And part of the happy accidents happen when you have lots of leftovers.
Oh.
And you think, well, I don't want to be wasteful here. I want to use all these leftovers. And you then start exploring at random, like you're more abandoned because these yarns aren't brand new and pristine. So you're not as particular with them. So you actually start exploring on how you can mix the colors together to get some happy accidents.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a tendency to just look at my stash and pull out two that my gut says I like them together,
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3, whatever the case is. When it has more, I don't know if I've done projects other than our Roll the Dice that require more colors, unless the pattern, well, yes. Yeah, I had difficulty with, just recently I finished a test for Mariana Mueller called the Canyon Crossing. I don't know if you saw that or not. I had the most difficult time going in my stash to find 4 colors that would work together. And one of them I had to have 2 skeins of. I don't have 2 skeins of very many things because I buy this one or that one because I like it. You don't know what you're going to use it for. So you tend to only buy one, right? When you're buying them randomly. So I don't know. I've got a few patterns in my queue that use 3 or more, and I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Anyway, if
Yeah.
you want to show us some other examples, go for it.
Oh, okay. There is something that I go through in my process, which it doesn't drain too much of the thinking process, like a mood board, or the part of the inspiration is already figured out for me because I've bought the yarn that actually has everything that I need for the project. So generally they're either one cake wonders or one hank wonders, and that actually eliminates a lot of the confusion that a lot of people have when they're choosing yarn for their patterns. They just love the yarn and they can use up whatever is provided in the get-go, so that there's nothing to figure out. So one of my favorite things to do is to get a cake like this, and that's pretty much a pattern. It's pretty much a project in one ball or one
Yeah, I
cake.
like those.
Yeah, they're really cool. So the colors are figured out for you. So there's a whole plethora of different gradations or whatever that you can purchase out there. There are ones that are loose strands, there's ones that are twisted, and some of them have hard changes in color, some of them fade really gently. And I already know what I'm going to use them for because I found these beautiful crocheted light shawls. So here's one here. It's from the Yaga Yaga design group, and they have a whole series of different lightweight fingering style projects. And I will go straight to like patterns like this, for example, and it will be a quick marrying of yarn and pattern. Also, there's like patterns like this one here from Red Teapot Atelier.
She's got a lot of that.
She has a lot, yeah. So those are my quick fixes. And I think everyone who creates knows where their quick fixes are. They'll tend to feel their comfort zone is in a certain style of like marrying patterns and yarns, and they just repeat. Sort of there's a little challenge there to figure out what's going to be used together. So I like that too. So that quick fix, that kind of I'll get my reward figured out for me with these wonderful yarns.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to show is, because you mentioned this blanket.
Yeah. And just before you show it, I'm going to answer a quick question.
Okay.
Have you taken color theory course of some kind, Gary? What you don't know is Gary's background. He's an artist. I'm not too sure if did you study that at university?
Yeah, we did color theory, and there is the classic color theory, which has the color wheel and how to join all the colors together in various different ways. But there are other color theories as well that are not adopted so widely here in the West, but they do exist. And I think everyone has their own language with color.
Yeah.
And it's worth exploring because these little magic moments happen when you break the wheel.
Yeah.
And I feel that a lot of the yarn that you purchase, either big box or heavy good sellers, are ones that marry the same type of yarn color pairing together. And I'll see them bought out in collections from big box stores, and then they'll look very similar to a whole other collection from a different company, because they've chosen the same kind of color theory as their basis, because it seems to be the pleasant one for the eye. And yeah, so it's a bouncing board and a suggestion, but you can always break it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see what you're going to tell us about this blanket. I think it's a blanket, okay. Although I got the feeling it was heavy enough to be a rug.
It is. These are 3-weight and 4-weight yarns, and I followed a pattern from Bebe Blanket called the Cozy Cuddles Mosaic, I believe. And all of these are different brands, different collections, some scrap and some that were full balls or cakes of yarn. And I don't know whether you can see it all.
This is one of my favorite projects that Gary has done.
I brought it on because Judy said, do you know that blanket that you did? So I wanted to showcase it. This is what I'm talking about, how you can pull the piece together when you have colors, several colors, that sort of like if you were to put them down in a project and not use them again throughout the project. So I'm unifying the colors by picking up on this orangey red, the purple all the way through. So you get to see glimpses of it all the way from the start to the end. And even though that they're all from different brands and different weights, it sort of does relate to the full piece. So maybe if I hold it up, you can see. So yeah,
that one row of yellow up there bothers me, but the rest is good.
Yeah, this is You mean this one here?
Yeah, right in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a scrap piece that I had left, like a healthy scrap. And I was like, oh, I'm going to put this in. So yeah.
See, I wouldn't do that, but I certainly like all those purples and pinks, and even I guess that's sort of orange. I would never think to put those together,
This
and
one, yeah.
yet I like it. But I think
Yeah.
partly because it's also vibrant,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Yeah.
black, of course, sets it all off. Yeah.
Yeah, because I ran out of I wanted to hold off on this using this purple because I only had a couple of cakes of it. So I interspersed some of the black in between, and I think it's fine. It looks fine. The black and the purple. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I've got more here to talk about if you want.
I'll read you another question.
Okay.
Gary, I think I know the answer to this, but Gary, do you combine yarns with different fiber makeups? Seems like it might be hard to stick with identical fibers unless you're buying the yarn all at the same time. I'm sure you must combine different fibers.
Yeah, I do. I combine different fibers. So most of them, sometimes wool and acrylic are probably the most diverse that I put together. But there are some projects that I've used both wool and acrylic.
I mean, the classic is people put mohair or Syrian silk with just about any, but mainly with merino. They'll take a strand of mohair and put it with a strand of merino or whatever else it is they're putting with it. That's
Yep.
very common. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I do that when I want the fuzz, but I love the color of the main body of the yarn. So I'll do exactly what you said, the mohair silk with a plied yarn.
I'm having a little problem right now because I have a variety of mohairs and I'm afraid of what to put them with. I keep thinking, oh, this mohair has to match this base color. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Well, I guess if it's a totally different color, am I going to get more of the mohair color or the base color? Is it going to take away? Is this different mohair going to mute the color of my base so that if it's a base I really like, I don't get the true color?
Yeah.
I haven't done it. I only did one where I combined them. So I'm a little afraid or unsure of how to combine them.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
I would say that if they're too far apart from each other, that you would definitely get a textured look. But if they're similar, maybe a shade lighter or darker, then you'll get probably a softer fabric looking fabric. There are other things that you can use as well, like this is one here, which if you want to make a yarn tweed, you can buy
Yes,
something
I
like
have one
this,
of those tweed things. Yeah.
make it tweed. Yeah. And I would say that you have probably want to pair this with a lime green or something because
Yeah, right.
there's a lot going on there. I don't know whether it would work as maybe it would be interesting with a hot pink. Who knows, right?
Well, what
It
if
would
you
be very
even put
loud.
that with a dark forest green?
Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, because there are little nubs in there of a darker green as well. Yeah.
See if there are any other questions here. This is this is the master class I needed. They're enjoying it, Gary.
Oh, great. I'm
Gary,
glad that you're
can you
enjoying it.
speak to using variegated yarns and stitches that work better with them? Got
Yeah.
anything to say on that?
Yeah. With the variegated yarn, my experience, I tend to go back or revert to the technique in making it a very simple stitch. And if it's not a simple stitch, say you wanted to do a bubble or whatever in crochet or a clustered stitch, I would say that I would revert back to a technique of either framing it with a solid so it becomes a little picture frame of this whimsical part of the design, and mirror that through, similar to the Chasing Starlights blanket or wrap that I showed. A variegated like little leaf motif, and then framing it with a solid woodwork.
So doing individual squares type thing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think if you were to frame it, it would work. My stitches, I think I would revert to would be simple stitches, like very
Yeah.
uncomplicated
Yeah.
stitches.
I've
Yep.
heard that when variegated yarns do very simple stitches, you don't want the
Mm-hmm.
stitches to take away from the yarn. You have to let the yarn speak.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
wouldn't see the technique, right? Like I'm thinking about cabling or um,
Yeah,
all
you
of
could
that
do
sort of
that. Yeah.
technique. You wouldn't see what's going on with a heavy variegated, but you could do a slip stitch technique in knitting, where you're combining with a solid and you're using a variegated. So you could create these maybe little uh, slip stitches that are framed with solid colors, and you can get really beautiful results that way. Or if you do a brioche, say for example, you could choose a variegated stitch with a solid
With the
stitch.
solid.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've never thought of using variegated in brioche because usually you just see it in two solids.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So here's another question about this variegated. You recently worked on Doodad. I don't
yeah,
remember Doodad, but anyway, how do you choose yarns, especially ones that have some variegated colors, to work in without fighting the design in such a pattern? Some variegated will ruin the design. I
yeah.
don't remember that. What was that, Doodad?
The doodad is a hooked on sunshine pattern, and it's a blanket. I chose Caron cotton cakes, and they were a combination of the solid cotton cakes and also the self
Color scheme?
striping. Yeah,
Yeah,
self
yeah.
striping. So I cut them up and
Oh,
put
yeah.
the colors
I
together.
remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did
So,
all of these together and all of those.
mhm,
Yeah. Okay. I remember that. So I
yeah,
don't know that variegation would come into that.
I used a mystery yarn from Australia when I went shopping. I purchased this mystery yarn from Spotlight, and it was a heavy speckly yarn, but the variegation was kind of like constant, like a marble effect over the stitches that it created. So I wasn't choosing a variegated yarn that had maybe little lengths of different colors, like 6 inches or less of red and blue. Then this was like a speckling of lime green, and when it stitched up, it looked like marble. So I can see that I chose a yarn that was heavy variegated with those blocks of strands of the yarn changing different colors from red, blue, yellow, I think that that would have created a different feel, like a potpourri of different petals of colors or whatever. You know, that could have worked as well. But I think what happens is with an area, you need to confine it to a smaller area, so you get that sense that it's either framed or only a couple of rows or rounds in a design, because that
You keep
it does
using this
bite.
term framed. Could it be framed by having the solid, the variegated, the salt, like rows around it rather than, I hate doing lots of little pieces that I have to connect. So when I hear framed, I think, oh, you're doing like a granny square, really. You're
Yeah,
doing whatever and then framing it with another round of the solid. And I really don't want to go into too many of these, put a whole lot of pieces together.
I think
So you can
that
frame it with rows as well,
you
right?
can frame it with rows, and that's similar to like brioche as well, because
Yeah.
you're flanking the variegated with columns of solid colors. So that's kind of like a framing. And slip stitching as well, you can create little windows with that punch of color coming through the actual fabric in like dots, almost like they're little pixels or little dots. of variegated color.
Or when they're reaching down kind of thing?
Yeah, when they're
Where to do
reaching
that?
down, that could work with spike stitching,
Yeah.
or even if you wanted to use a variegated in Jacob's ladder stitch, I think that would work because you're
Oh,
framing. What else works well? Oh, there's the brick stitch as well in crochet that would work, and you don't have to cut anything. So you
right,
do the brick stitch, and that would have a beautiful frame of solid color around the
right.
background color, which would be variegated. Yep.
Okay. Okay, a couple of other quick questions. This one's easy, Gary. Did you make the sweater you're wearing?
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a knitted project called the Pemberton Pullover, and the designer is Bobby Int Belt.
Okay. I
Yep.
think I've heard of that pattern before, maybe from watching you. Somebody else wants to know, what kind of art do you do?
Yeah.
A lot.
Well, I do graphic design for my day job, and I have studied art in art school. So it was a 4-year degree program. And then I was an exhibiting artist until 96, which was about maybe 6 years of exhibiting while I was still working. And yeah, so I've done illustrations for children's books, a few doubled here and there of, like, well, as you can tell, this is my latest craze
Yeah.
is knitting and crochet.
I happen
Uh,
to know he's done pottery in the past.
yes, I did pottery for 6 years in our local community center, but we since have moved away from that community center. So unfortunately, there's no outlet here for me to do it in a community way. But I do miss it, and maybe when I retire, I might buy myself a kiln and get back into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you really liked it, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm just looking for, oh shoot, where did they go? I keep hitting things and losing chats. Um, okay, what I want to say is that I am editing. Well, I don't need to read that. Um, I wish I was half as knowledgeable as Gary with, okay. Different weights create texture. I'm sure you've used different weights together.
Yeah.
Brioche is knitting using 2 colors. You can do brioche and crochet too, Diane. You got to learn how to crochet. I know she's got a knitting channel.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've got
um,
one. I've got a piece here in crochet, which is brioche. It's also commonly called short rows. Is that right?
no, I think short rows is different. You
Okay.
might use it in it, but
Yeah.
now here's my question, people. Gary does have more he can show us, but we have reached the hour, and I always promised you I wouldn't keep you too long. Do you want to hear more or see more that Gary has, or are you quite happy for us to call the day at this point? I'm going to leave it up to you people. I'm finding it interesting. Gary says he has more, but it's up to you. You want to see more from Gary, or do you want us to call it at this point? So let's see what the people say. More, yes, sure. More,
Awesome.
yes, yes, more.
Oh, there's
Do
Emissary.
you get
Hi.
the message, Gary?
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well.
haven't seen anybody say no, so it sounds like they're willing to hang around a little bit longer if you are happy to show us something more.
Yeah. I've got a few more things here. Okay. So this is a project that I am just starting. You are going to be the first to see the swatch of this one because I haven't even
Ooh.
showed it on my channel yet.
Oh, good. We're
Yeah.
special.
So this one is I'm just trying to think how this came to me, whether I saw the pattern first. I saw the pattern first, and then this inspired me to go to my yarn and figure out what kind of yarn I wanted to use in this
Oh, good.
pattern.
So we're going to
Yep.
see the process here.
Yep.
How did you pick those colors?
Yep. Oh, sorry, I'm knocking the. I'm gonna get the pattern. It's right here. Okay. this is a paid for pattern, and it's my next bebe blanket, which is called the Sea Glass Mosaic.
I think I've
And
seen that.
yeah, it's a paid for one, but I just since found another one which is a free pattern, and I also printed that one out because
I
I
have
just
to
love
ask
this.
Cindy. Cindy is the mosaic expert here on the channel. Were we looking at that together, Cindy? I just seem to recall seeing that pattern recently, and I don't know why. It'd only be with Cindy because she's the mosaic lady.
Yeah. So I looked through my stash and I had 4 balls of this color here, which is the Lagoon
Oh
from
yeah, I like
Yarn Smith.
that. Yeah, I like how it blends the colors.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's green. And I purchased this recently from Wool Warehouse.
Oh,
And it is the Yarn Smith Create acrylic yarn in a 3-weight. And that's the ball band there. I don't have enough of the light colors, and this is a variegated yarn. So I thought it'll look nice as the background color going through the various, I guess, design with the white solid. And I did a test because I wasn't sure whether it'd be enough of a contrast to see the design, but it ended up being really nice. Like,
oh, the changing of the greens with white.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't tend to put white with things a lot. I'm more into black,
Mm-hmm.
navy, or gray.
Yeah, this is kind of like a bluish white,
Yeah.
bluish green white. They
Oh,
call it silver, pale silver. So it's yeah,
oh,
it's got
okay.
a cool color to it. But
Cindy
yeah,
says she's done that pattern, Gary, and the reason I saw it is it's still a whip. She hasn't finished it. She's made so many mosaic blankets, mostly by Bebe Blanket, that she's burnt out on them. So she didn't finish it.
oh,
She was showing
Sydney.
it to me.
Well,
Yeah,
you know what?
that's why
It's
I thought.
it can take a rest, right? And then you
Yeah.
can get back to it some other time.
So now what made you pick white to put with that ball of yarn? There's what my thing is. What do I put with it?
Yeah, I chose a light color because I wanted the contrast, but I also liked how clean it looked and fresh with the thumbnail on top of the pattern. Um, this one here, I just liked that it created a fresh look.
Oh, they have a white background in theirs,
Yeah,
or light color.
I think that one it's a light color and it actually gradates as well. So they're using 2 different like gradating yarns.
Oh,
As you can see, it gets really close to each other's color here
hard to
and it sort of
see in
fades away.
oh, I guess yes. Okay, I see that out at the edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. I just thought it looked very clean. And because I did one Bebe blanket already with using dark
Glass.
colors and
Yeah.
rich,
Yeah.
I thought I would try and do a second one with more of the fresh white or clean looking lines. Yeah. Yeah. So what else can I show you? How about some knitting? Because I think we
Sure,
did.
you haven't shown us knitting yet, have you?
Yeah.
So for all you
Do
knitters out here, we have a little treat for you.
you recall the Pom Pom magazine? It's no longer publishing, but it's a magazine that I've always wanted to build up my brioche technique skills so that I could do this particular piece here on the cover. And this is definitely the pattern that inspired me. When I first started knitting, I went a little crazy and I was ambitious. And I thought, you know what? I want to really make this pattern. It's called the ceiling.
Oh, wow.
It's
A
got
lot
a
of waves.
it's got a lot of
Is it the type
folding.
where you start with a single, then do a half double and a double and a treble, and then you come back down?
It's knitting. It's knitting.
Oh, right.
So what I
The
like
same
about,
idea.
yes, it's waves, it's brioche, and it has an amigurumi feel because it looks like it has folds in it, like different ways that it can fold up.
Oh,
So not only does it have texture and these waves, but it also has these creases, natural creases that fall into it in um, in kind of like strategic parts, and it looks like it would fold like a concertina almost.
so that's two-dimension. It's got dimension to it. The
Yes,
surface is dimensional. Okay.
yeah, it's only ever so subtle, as you can see it probably here at the best. Like it's sort of a little bit folded
Yeah.
with a natural kind of seam or crease in the middle. Yeah, and when it lays flat, you don't see the seam like here. It's like a flat piece.
Oh, it is flat. It looks like it's higher up than the level of the
Oh,
piece.
this one here is raised.
Okay, that's raised. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
raised, yeah. But I'm talking about this natural crease here in the middle.
Oh, you can hardly see that crease, probably because it's hard, just the
It's
lighting or
yeah,
whatever.
it's laid flat. Yeah, I think so. I picked yarn for this because you need two colors.
Yeah. The solid, the big part looks sort of variegated.
It does, yeah. So I'm using a. Ooh, I'm using. Actually, I've got a few yarns in here, so maybe you can help me choose. So I have this one here because the one that is more of the natural color sitting on the top ridges sort of looks
Yes.
like an oatmeal-y kind of
Yes. That looks like
color.
a good accent color.
Then I have this, which is the Premier trinket that I might add to it with different pops of color.
Mm-hmm.
And the dark color is this one here. Do you remember Knit Crate?
Oh yeah, I have some knit crate stuff. I thought I sent you some knit crate sort
It
of
might
like that.
it might have been this one.
That one or brown, maybe I sent brown. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I think I've sent you knit crate in the past.
So I think these two will be like part of the equation. So this will be my contrast color, and then these will be the main color where the ridges will come up. And for some reason, I have this yarn in here as well. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know what that would have to do with it.
But I do like all of those colors together.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking I could use the oatmeal and this trinket with the dark dusk color from Vitellana, or I could use these two.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that oatmeal with the green. Although the
Yeah.
oatmeal looked good with that variegated orange too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that other one, the spool thing there, that is not something you work with. That's something you add with a yarn, right?
Yeah. You add it with, so it becomes more like what they
To
call a
give it the
tweed.
tweed look, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's
So
not much to it. It's just it's a thread.
mhm,
Yeah.
with little bumps of different colors.
Mm.
Yeah. So that is a knit project in my wish list that I've been wanting to make for a very long time. The yarn was pulled just recently, but that actual publication with that has been on my mind for, I'm going to say, at least 6 years. I wasn't
Practical.
near good enough to do the brioche at the point when I got the pattern.
Right.
So I think now it's kind of, it still will be challenging, but I think I'm ready to branch out and try it out.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, I think that comes it's mostly all done now. I have more, but they're kind of scattered around the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many whips do you have going at a time? Oh, Gary usually has several.
I have normally anywhere between 7 and 4 whips. Right now I'm kind of checked off a lot of them. and I only have 3, and I started 2 last night.
Oh,
I started the sample of the baby blanket, which you just saw, and I started another sweater. So those are now making it to 4 whips, 4 whips, and one lingering one that's kind of like waiting for more DK scraps. That will be a very slow growing project because I add to the project when I finished and I have leftover DK weight yarn.
okay, we have one question we'll finish off, and I'm going to ask Trish this question. She says, the big question, Gary, I almost don't want him to answer this. Do you like knitting more than crochet? And I'd like to know, is this a good conversations with Judy question to make a whole topic out of? So dare I ask, Gary, which is your preferred craft?
I like them both, but I'm going to add to that because I'm sure that's not going to satisfy a lot of the quite inquiring minds. But I would say I like doing either or for specific things. So for sweater wear like this, I love knitting. I haven't, I've tried one vest with crochet and it ended up being very heavy. So I was using sport weight, and I think it's because of the yarn that I was using. I love blankets in crochet. I don't think I would knit a blanket. I would always choose to crochet a blanket. And there are so many reasons for that because the stitches are more vast and varying than knitting. So I can get a lot of different textures that I couldn't get with knitting. Um, there are possibilities like mosaic, which is the color work, which I love. And even though I can do color work in knitting, what I find on the back are the floats that might have some restrictions on whether you are capturing your floats if you have long distance between floats. But with mosaic crochet, everything seems, you could even turn a crocheted color work to look at the backside and equally fall in love with it because it just looks like a beautiful piece of work. Not so much with knitting. So, and I also would love, I don't want to ever give up the lightweight shawls in crochet because I just, for equal reasons, I can get texture that I can't get in knitting. But I do love a knitted shawl as well. So I don't know. It's I think the shawl realm is when I can choose both, either or, like crochet or knitting. But then I have specifics like for a sweater or a cardigan, I prefer knitting. For socks, I don't really do socks, but I do like knitted socks. I have a few hand knitted socks that other people have sent me, and I love wearing them. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the project. So
Yeah.
do you keep all your blankets for yourself?
No, the baby blanket that I just recently did, which was a 2-color granny stitch blanket from Olga Petova.
Yes.
I gave that to someone who's having a baby in April.
Okay.
So I do gift them, and I've given a couple of blankets to friends. I'm thinking of one called The Nature's Walk by Sandra Paul. I made that twice because I loved it so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
And there was one other quick question. Oh, this is another topic, Diane. You'll have to tune in when I get my guest that wants to discuss it. But she asked, spill the beans. Do you swatch?
Yes.
That's a topic we're going to cover one week.
Yeah. But not for everything. Things that I don't need to swatch, I don't swatch.
Probably just for a sweater, right? To get
Yeah,
the
I swatch
sizing.
for a sweater, mostly sweaters. I'm just trying to think what else. No. No, and I
Okay.
think when you look at a granny square or a granny hexie, or you kind of use the one modular, and you kind of can work out how big your piece is and what you want to do with that one modular. So
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Well, we've kept Gary longer than I said he would have to be busy. Here's somebody just arriving. This will go in replay. I don't know how long it takes to come up. YouTube does their thing. But I would really appreciate if people would go to the replay, even if you don't watch it, and comment on the replay. That is very helpful because we need comments on the replay. And yeah, if there's any topics you can think of that we should cover in the future, that would be really great. So people are starting to say thank you. It was a great discussion. Thank you, Gary, for your
Thank
knowledge and
you.
good time. Thanks. Thanks so much. They really enjoyed it. Yeah,
Thanks,
everybody.
Judy, for inviting me, and thank you everyone for commenting in the comment section. If I missed your comments, I have them here going, but I've been looking away from the screen, so I haven't had a chance to answer any other questions that might have happened. But Judy said she was keeping an eye out.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, you did well.
I think I caught most of the questions, maybe not all. Yeah, thank you is what we're getting now. Then thank all of you. Look at, we're up at 54. I think that's the highest I've had on one of these. So I have to thank Gary for that. I think you were a real attraction. They wanted to come and hear what you had to say. So
You're so
I
kind.
think it was a topic they enjoyed hearing about. Love the conversation. Love listening to you. That's really great. So I'm going to say thank you to all that came. We will be back in April. I believe it's April the 19th, the third Sunday of the month. I'm not announcing the guest because I'm not really sure. It's up in the air this month. So hopefully I can settle it down and figure out what we're doing next month before we get to next month. But I want to thank you, Gary, for being willing to join us, and maybe one day in the future, because I hope this program continues for quite a while, and maybe we'll have you back for some more information on color.
I'd love to come back.
It was great seeing you. And thank you all for being here. Yeah, somebody heard Pixel.
Yeah.
Was that
Gone.
Pixel? I just see the comments.
That was Pixel.
Yeah. So we're going to say goodbye, everybody, and I will end the stream at this point. Bye. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everyone.